An NFL draft expert is predicting that Elijah Moore hits 1,000 yards next year. Can he do it? Hey, what's going on? I'm Matt O'Leary back with another video, and today we'll be talking about Elijah Moore and if he could hit 1,000 yards receiving next year. Before we get started, I just wanted to mention that you can follow on social media at Matt O'Leary NY. If you haven't already, please make sure to check out the Just Jets podcast. New episodes come out every single Monday. You can call in and leave me your questions, and I'll get to them on the show. Also, the shirt. Just wanted to shout out Tyson from Let's Talk Jets Radio. He is doing a really awesome challenge. If you don't follow along with him or Let's Talk Jets Radio, you absolutely should. He's doing a challenge next week where he's raising awareness for mental health. He's a mental health advocate, which is something that I hold near and dear to my heart. So just wanted to plug that on this channel. It's a really good cause. You should check it out for sure. Okay, so let's hop into today's video. Mike Renner, the lead draft analyst for Pro Football Focus, had this to say about Elijah Moore. With the Zach Wilson emergence and a clean bill of health, Elijah Moore should be a 1,000-yard receiver. Can he do it? Well, let's talk about where he was pacing out as a rookie, and we'll just go into a little bit more detail. So, he played 11 games as a rookie and was pretty solid, especially at the end. 538 yards, 5 touchdowns in 11 games, which is 48.9 yards per game. If you want to pace that out over a full 17-game season, that's 831 yards, 7 touchdowns. So that's obviously under 1,000, but that's rookie numbers, and that's impressive rookie numbers, paced out over a full season. This is operating under the assumption that he takes a leap forward in his development, that the quarterback play is better, which is probably all fair and safe assumptions. The number that he would have to hit to get to 1,000 yards is 58 yards a game on average, which is something that I think he can do. I think there's a strong case for him to be hovering around 60 yards, maybe more depending on what happens in scheme and who the Jets bring in. Like, even if the Jets draft a receiver 10th overall, which is something that I've been trying to advocate for them to do, I think there's a good chance that Elijah Moore's still sitting around 900, 1,000 yards receiving, potentially more. I mean, you look at what he was able to do from week 7 through week 12. That's a nice 6-game sample size, 459 yards and 5 touchdowns over a 17-game season. That's a pace of 1,300 yards and 14 touchdowns. Now, I'm not going to get nuts. I don't think he hits 1,300 yards and 14 touchdowns. That would be phenomenal. I'd be thrilled because that means the Jets have an elite level wide receiver, which is something they haven't had in a really, really, really long time. But I think you're probably going to get somewhere in between the pace of 830 and 7 touchdowns and 1,314. So maybe 1,000, a little over 1,000, 1,100 at the most, maybe. I think I have him right over 1,000. Again, this is a long way to go, but this is a quote that was going around on social media, so I wanted to talk it through and see if it was realistic, and I think so. I think there's a really good chance that he hovers around 1,000, maybe a little bit more, with high single-digit touchdowns, maybe 9, and this is under the assumption that he plays a full 17-game season. Obviously he missed 6 games this past year, has to be more healthy, and if he is, then I think there's a good chance that he's a very good receiver for the New York Jets next year. And when you look at just how long it's been since they've had an 1,000-yard receiver, 2015. You had Brandon Marshall and Eric Decker go over 1,000 yards, but before that, even, it's a really long time. Not a lot. There haven't been a lot of very productive Jets wide receiver years in recent memory. Unfortunately, you have to go back to the early 2000s. Jericho Cotchery did it once in 2007. Before that, you had guys like Lavernius Coles and Santana Moss who would put up close to that. But it's rare that the Jets have that kind of talent on offense. So 1,000 yards, like, to the average fan, would be like, yeah, we have a receiver who does that every year. What are you talking about? But the Jets never do. It's been 7 years since they've had that, which is just crazy to me. But I think there's a good chance that streak ends, especially if your young quarterback takes that step forward, which I think he can. And that's really what it's about. You have to have 2 things. One is you have to have Elijah Moore, stay healthy and take a leap forward, but you also need your quarterback to be healthy and take a step forward. So it's a two-part problem, but I think there is a good chance of it happening. It's not a lock. I'm not saying, run to the bank and bet the mortgage on it, but I don't think it's that crazy of a take. I thought, especially in the second half of the year, we saw a different version of Elijah Moore, and I think he could absolutely be someone who can hover around 1,000 yards. That'd be really nice. So let me know what you think down in the comments below. Do you think he could reach that mark? I think he can. Let me know. Sound off on social media or in the comments below. Subscribe here if you are new. I'm Matt O'Leary, and I'll talk to you next time.